The city breathed in neon and exhaled heat. Even after midnight, Los Angeles pulsed with a kind of urgent glamour, like a fading starlet who refused to leave the party. Side streets wore the scent of engine oil and jasmine, with laughter drifting, in from rooftop bars, hollow and champagne slick. Tom Cruise moved through it like smoke. Cap pulled low, sunglasses at night. An affectation for most, but on him, it worked like armor. Fame had a way of bending light, of making people see what they expected, and Tom had learned long ago how to disappear in plain sight. Tonight, he was just a man who wanted to walk. He passed shuttered shops and flickering street lamps, the stars, above dimmed by city haze. Somewhere a saxophone wailed from a third-story window. It was the kind of night that held secrets between its teeth. That was when he saw her. At first, just a silhouette, a woman striding fast, her heels clicking on the pavement. Her hair was long, dark, pulled hastily back. Her dress was sleek, expensive, but creased like she'd been wearing it too long. There was tension in her frame, shoulders set. She glanced back once, then again. Tom slowed. From behind her, another figure emerged. Male, broad-shouldered, moving too casually to be casual. The space between them narrowed like the pause before. A blade falls. Tom's instincts, honed on stunts and sets and real-world adrenaline, clicked into place. Something was wrong. The woman turned a corner too quickly, the man following with the slow precision of a predator who enjoys the chase. Tom exhaled once, a breath that tasted like decision. He turned down the alley after them, shadows swallowing him whole. The alley breathed a different kind of air, thicker, older. It smelled of rust, spilled liquor, and secrets left to rot. Pale orange light spilled from a crooked street lamp overhead, casting fractured shadows on the graffiti-scrawled brick. Somewhere above, a window slammed shut. Quick, guilty. The world was narrowing. Tom's footsteps softened instinctively, years of silent approach engraved into his muscle memory. He kept a distance close enough to intervene, far enough to stay unnoticed. For now. Ahead, the woman's pace had quickened. She kept looking back. Her movements had lost their precision. Now they jittered with something rawer. Fear. Her handbag bounced against her hip, her breath coming in sharp, uneven draws. Tom caught a flicker of her face as she passed beneath. The light, a sharp cheekbone, mascara smudged at the corners. Her lipstick was smeared slightly, not like carelessness, but like she'd wiped something off in a hurry. The man behind her didn't speed up. He didn't have to. He moved with the languid confidence of someone who already thought he'd won. "Hey," he called out, his voice too casual to be casual, laced with a poisonous charm. "Hey, sweetheart, don't walk away. That's rude." She didn't answer. She kept walking, faster now. Her fingers clenched tight around her bag. Tom's jaw tensed. The man jogged a few steps, closing the gap, and reached for her shoulder. That's when she turned, quick as lightning. Her hand came, up in defense, pushing him back, voice finally cracking the air. "Leave me alone." But the man grinned like he enjoyed it, like fear was foreplay. "Come on, babe. Don't be like that. I'm just trying to talk." He reached again. Tom stepped forward, slow but deliberate, voice low and calm, cutting through the alley like, "Steal." She said no. The man froze, turned, and Tom Cruise, stepping into the dim light, pulled back his hood just enough for the stranger to see what the world knew far too well. Recognition dawned, then stuttered. Confusion followed. The man blinked like he wasn't sure if he was hallucinating. Tom didn't blink. "I suggest," he said quietly, "you walk away. Now." The alley fell still. The woman, Ava, watched, breathless, the tide shifting in an instant. Her eyes locked on Tom, wide with disbelief and something else, relief maybe, or suspicion, or both. The air tightened like a held breath. Then the man muttered something sharp under his breath and backed off. One step, then another. Then he turned and disappeared into the night, his pride dragging behind him. Tom didn't move until The sound of footsteps had dissolved completely. Only then did he turn to her. "You okay?" he asked. For a moment she didn't answer. Then her voice returned, low, composed, but with a tremble buried beneath. "I am now." The silence between them held for a beat too long, stretched taut like cello wire. Then Ava blinked, seemed to gather herself, and let out a breath that sounded like she hadn't exhaled in blocks. "Thanks," she said, brushing her hair back, the gesture more calculated than casual. "I thought I could lose him if I turned down here. That was stupid." Tom shook his head. "You shouldn't have had to think that way in the first place." She looked at him then, really looked, and her eyes flickered. Yeah, he said, tone dry. "Unfortunately." A flicker of a smile ghosted across her lips. "Didn't expect Ethan Hunt to show up in an alley tonight." "Neither did I." Tom gave a small shrug. "Was just trying to walk off a bad dinner. Seemed like the kind of night that needed silence." "Well," Ava said, glancing toward the street, "I guess fate had other plans." They started walking slowly, cautiously, toward a strip of lights in the distance where the city felt a little less hungry. As they moved, Tom kept a half step behind her, protective without being obvious. "You want me to call someone?" he asked. "Friend? Cab?" Ava shook her head. "No one to call?" Then, after a pause, "Besides, I wouldn't want to drag them into this." Something in the way she said it caught his ear. A little too controlled, a little too vague. "You know him?" Tom asked gently. "No," she said, a beat too quickly. "Not really." Then, "I think he followed me from the metro. Or maybe from the gala. I wasn't paying attention." He let the lie sit. Didn't push. Her heels clicked on the pavement again, quieter now. She glanced at him sideways. "You always this good at showing up at the right moment?" Tom smiled, faintly. "Not always, but I've had practice." "You do your own rescues too?" He chuckled under his breath. "Only when I'm off the clock." They reached the edge of the alley, the din of the city folding back over them. Traffic, laughter, neon signs blinking through grit-streaked windows. A diner sat on the corner, the kind with chipped linoleum and weary waitresses who didn't ask questions. Tom nodded toward it. "Let's go inside. Safer than wandering out here alone. I'll buy you a coffee." Ava hesitated, then nodded. "One condition." "What's that?" "You don't try to psychoanalyze me over pie." "No promises," he said, holding the door open for her. "Depends on the pie." The bell above the diner door gave a reluctant jingle as they stepped inside. It smelled like burnt coffee and old stories, like a place that had survived 1,000 nights just like this one. A tired waitress with a tangled bun and half-smudged eyeliner glanced up, offered a nod, then returned to wiping down the counter. No one else paid them much attention. This kind of place wasn't for gawking. It was for fading into the wallpaper. They slid into a booth by the window. Ava shrugged off her jacket, black leather, a little too worn for the outfit underneath. She caught his eye and offered a faint, dry smile. "Let me guess, you're a black coffee guy." "2 sugars," Tom said, surprising her. "You?" "Straight. If I wanted sweet, I'd get a milkshake." The waitress appeared, dropped off, 2 mugs, and poured without asking. Her nails were chipped red and her pad stayed tucked in her apron. The kind of service that said, "You're welcome to sit, but don't make me care." Tom wrapped his hands around the cup. "So," he said lightly, "you got a name?" She sipped before answering, eyes steady on him over the rim. "Ava. No last name." He nodded, didn't press. "You always walk alleys alone?" she asked, playing casual. "Only on Wednesdays," he said. "City's quieter when no one's looking." "That a movie star thing? Or a secret agent thing?" Tom smirked. "A bad habit thing." Ava laughed softly, the sound small and sharp like a cracked bell. "I didn't think you were real at first, like maybe I hit my head back there. Hallucinated the rescue. I get that more than you'd think." She looked at him differently now, not with starstruck awe but with curiosity. Why were you even down there? Tom paused, sipped his coffee. Let's just say I needed some air. The kind you can't find at a gala surrounded by fake smiles and over-polished shoes. Ava's mouth twitched. Yeah, I know the type. Their eyes held a moment too long. Then she looked away. Behind the casual banter, the warmth of the diner lights, and the low hum of the refrigerator case, something about her posture was still tight, guarded, like she was sitting on a secret and daring it not to rise. Tom noticed. He always noticed. But he said nothing. Yet. Instead, he leaned back in the booth, voice low and even. Whatever that was back there, it wasn't your fault. Ava didn't answer right away. She stared into her coffee like it could offer her a different life if she looked hard enough. Finally, she spoke. Yeah, maybe. Then thanks for stepping in. Outside the window, the city rolled on, bright, blurred, and indifferent. Inside the booth, two strangers sat in a pocket of borrowed calm. The check came without being asked, slid across the table with the indifference of someone who'd seen 1,000 late-night strangers. Tom paid in cash. Ava didn't argue. Outside, the air had cooled. City heat traded for something sharper, the kind of chill that hinted at dawn still hours away. I'll be fine from here, Ava said, arms crossed, not defensive, just done. You sure? Tom asked. She nodded. You've already done more than enough. He hesitated, watching her carefully now, not out of suspicion, but something softer. That strange gravity people have when they're not telling you everything, when they don't want to. You got somewhere to go? He asked. A pause. Then she smiled, warm, grateful, but with something unreadable behind it. I always land on my feet. Tom studied her face for a moment longer, as if trying to memorize it. He didn't know why. Maybe it was the way her eyes never quite matched the smile, or how her posture shifted the moment she thought he wasn't looking. But in the end, he just nodded. Take care of yourself, Ava. You too, she said. She turned, heels clicking softly as she walked down the sidewalk, swallowed quickly by the darkness beyond the diner's reach. No glance back. Just gone. Tom stood there a moment. Then he sighed and started toward his car. The dashboard screen blinked to life as the engine purred beneath him. He barely noticed the low thrum of the radio until the voice of the newscaster cut through, crisp and impersonal. Breaking tonight. Authorities are renewing efforts to locate Ava Delgado, wanted in connection with last month's cyber breach at Helix Systems. Tom's hand froze on the wheel. Delgado is considered highly intelligent and potentially dangerous. She is believed to be using aliases and disguises. If seen, do not approach. Contact authorities immediately. He looked up. There, on the screen, grainy and slightly outdated, but unmistakable, was her. Same eyes. Same jawline. Same impossible calm under pressure. Ava. A slow breath escaped him, his lips twitching not quite into a smile, just a flicker of something dry. Amused. A little impressed. Guess I should have psychoanalyzed her after all, he muttered. And then, just before he reached to turn the key, he noticed something on the passenger seat. An envelope. Unmarked. Tom stared at the envelope. It sat neatly on the passenger seat, pale against the dark leather, like it had been waiting for him. No name. No stamp. Just a single crease down the center, carefully folded. He picked it up, turned it over. Nothing on the back. He opened it. Inside, a single line, handwritten in black ink, fast and precise. Thank you. For the kindness. We don't always get to. Choose who we run from. No explanation. No goodbye. Outside, the city moved on. A siren wailed in the distance. Somewhere a train rattled past. Another ordinary night in a city built on illusion. But in his hands was proof that nothing tonight had been ordinary. He folded the note once more and tucked it into his jacket pocket, just above his heart. Then he sat back in the seat, staring out at the quiet street, a slow breath curling past his lips.